Hi everyone, in this video I want to talk about some of the things which photographers should be asking for whenever they're getting new cameras, or to put it another way, is more what the camera companies should be aiming to give photographers, because it's the stuff that we should be wanting. So at the moment there's these companies like Lytro which are coming up, which are giving this, ooh, we can focus after you've taken the photo crap, or there's other ones where Nikon brought out a kind of point and shoot digital SLR expensive thing which is just a bit, again, something which nothing, or is something which nobody actually wanted. So my advice here is the kind of stuff which I think we should actually be asking from our camera companies, whether it be Nikon, Canon, Panasonic, Olympus, or whatever it is, or Sony, or whatever. And first things first, you'd have to go on about the video. Pretty much every new digital SLR that's coming out is giving us video, and we are loving it. Everyone is buying cameras that has got this video function in it. Any of you that say, oh no, I don't want a digital SLR to have video, don't be silly. The amount of opportunities that you can have creatively with video and how that can enhance your photographic inspiration is so valuable to everyone. Also, the amount of photographers that I know, especially fashion photographers, who have been asked by their commissioning editors to ask to do behind the scenes video footage, usually with a digital SLR, then it's pretty much 99% of people are being asked to provide this kind of stuff. So the video is great. Canon is pretty much rocking with that, with giving us full HD at 30 and 24 and 25, whether you use NTSC or PAL settings. Great. It's also got it at 60 frames a second, so that means we can slow it down to 40% speed and still have smooth 24p motion, which is quite good. But what I would say is the only things which the cameras really still need to give us, this is stuff we should be asking for. I would say for sports photographers, sports video stuff, I want even more slow motion. So the 96 frames a second, that would be sweet. And being able to do that, so that means you could bring it down to 25% speed and still have smooth motion. That would be very sexy. The GoPro just now has actually just come out, and that can do 120 frames a second, but that's only in a small frame size. So being able to do that, or 96 frames at 720p, that would be amazing. The other things that we really want is our cameras to give us audio level controls. Now, I think that's actually coming out pretty much in all the new cameras just now, especially the Canon 60D, I think, has now got it, but it doesn't have the, or maybe it does, I'm not sure, the actual lines that show you the volume going up and down. So that's where Magic Lantern, which is a software which you can download and put onto your memory card, gives you so many more options, which is great. However, I wish the camera companies would start putting that into their bodies themselves, and especially with Nikon, come on, 25 frames a second or 30 frames a second, I want to see some 60 frames a second. And going on with the video, the higher the bit rate, the more information we have, the more ability we have to play with the shots. So again, being able to vary the bit rate, especially with the cameras or the memory cards that we're getting now, which can be so fast that it can take in high bitrate video. And now that's where it comes onto the next super sexy idea. I don't know if it's possible yet or if anyone does it, but the idea of raw video. Now that would be amazing. What that would be is effectively you could just shoot a video, and then afterwards the color grading wouldn't be like, for example, the video that we do just now, it's almost like the JPEG video that you're getting. And you can't really edit it that much. You can't really change the colors. Like with a raw photo, you can fully change the white balance from blue to orange. But with video, if we could have raw video, that would be nice. That would be very, very nice. And the other problem with digital SLR video is a thing called rolling shutter. So whenever you move the camera from left to right, things start to bend left and right, or a certain direction. So if we could get rid of that somehow, again, I don't know the science behind that, but that would be a very good thing to have. Some people go on about having 4K resolution. 4K, so at the moment 1080p is, I think that's considered 2K resolution, 2000 resolution, because that's the longest part. The longest bit is 2000 or 1980, and then 2K is that little bit extra bit. Going up to 4K is going up to like cinema style levels of information, and our cameras potentially can be doing that. So I think it's a 15 megapixel camera is 4K resolution, or maybe that's 5K, I can't remember. But do we need that in a camera? I don't think we do. I don't think we need it at all. It'd just be far too much information and suck on the editing time. It'd take forever, and nobody's really asking for that amount of detail. Now, going along with this and thinking about the lenses, which is what we should really be asking our camera companies to work with, is the ability to give a really smooth focus and smooth zooming lenses. Now, a lot of the very professional lenses that come out are very smooth and very smooth, yeah. If they could just make sure that they all stay smooth. The amount of videos I've seen on the YouTube where it's people going, is this right? And they're like turning their focus and it's just like crunch, 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 like, ooh, not good. So I'd want my camera company to really up their quality control on having good, smooth focusing and zooming. So that's pretty much it for the video guys. Now, for the photographers, what stuff should we be asking for? Do we want face detection? Do we want sweeping panoramas? Do we want other stuff? Yes, we do, actually. I think that's a good thing. Maybe not so much in the digital SLRs with the face detections, but in the smaller cameras for normal photographers, face detection is a good thing. I also very much like the idea of the smile detection. So somebody could be holding up the camera and then they just wait until somebody smiles and then it takes a photo. However, the delay in that, I don't know how annoying that would be, especially if you just have one grumpy person in the group of photos just kind of going, I don't want to smile. So, not too sure about that. But the sweeping panorama, I think that's a great invention that's come out recently, where you just pretty much get your camera, put it aside and just go whoom like that, and you get this great panoramic image. Again, I think at the moment it's limited to about 170 degrees, which is still a pretty badass panorama, but it'd be cool if there was like an unlimited one, or if you could kind of do one row, another row, third row. If you just like move your camera around, it would just make a giant orb of the image that you want to get. That would be cool. But let's get into the serious stuff. More megapixels. Many people want more megapixels. Me, I'm not really bothered. 12 is absolutely fine. 16 or 18 is more than enough. The more megapixels it has, it usually means the bigger the file, the longer it takes to edit, the longer it takes to process, the less files I can get on a memory card. It's just something which I don't need. When especially 12 megapixels still uses a lot of memory, still uses all that kind of stuff, but I can deal with that. My computers can deal with that. I don't really need more, especially when I'm doing my wedding albums. You know, a nice big wedding album like that, 12 megapixel, even when cropped right down, it's still like filling a full page. No problems with that whatsoever. So 12, I'm absolutely fine, don't really worry about it. But obviously some people do need higher resolution. Those who are doing like the fashion or beauty photography or billboard stuff, usually that kind of stuff, or big advertising campaigns usually need a much higher resolution. But do they? I don't know, because you can interpolate or whatever it is you want to pronounce it, the images, so it gets actually a big enough resolution that you actually want. And also, when you get the more megapixel cameras, you actually need lenses which are good enough to deal with the more megapixels. A lot of lenses are so soft, so not super sharp, that having billion pixels will be absolutely pointless, because it'll just mean more pixels are just more blurry. So what we really want is make sure that our camera companies are really pushing sharp lenses, so we can add the blur afterwards, not try and figure out what should be sharp to the photo beforehand. So that's it really, sharp lenses. And with sharp lenses, you want good, accurate focus lenses. So again, that would be kind of in the lens and in the camera body of where it decides where the focus is best. The amount of people I hear complaining about, oh, I've got a front focus, or I've got back focus, or I've got a soft focus. It's like, well, come on, lens companies or camera companies, figure it out. Again, with my Canon, with my Nikon D700, I can do micro adjustments to my lens. So if I've got lens which front focuses or back focuses, so what that means is if my camera says yes, focused on my eyes, if it front focuses, it's actually focused there. If it back focused, then it'd be actually focused about there, which you wouldn't notice on a wide angle lens, but on a more telephoto lens, you really notice it, and it can really annoy you a lot. So, but with my Nikon D700, D300, you've got micro adjustments, so you can actually change that in the camera, but it'd be good if they just figure it out. And again, faster focus. We all like fast focus shots, but there's one thing, like I still use the Nikon 50mm f1.4D lens, and I got that whenever the G lens was out, the newer one, the AFS one, the Auto something S, whatever, but that was meant to be much faster focusing, the new one. But however, it was the initiation of the focus which I found was much slower than the old-fashioned slow mechanical moving bit one. So there, I would like all of Nikon, I don't know what the case is with Canon because I don't really do any Canon lenses, but if we could have it so that the initiation of the focus is speeded up, so it's like almost, you know, you can turn your camera on and it comes on in 1/100th of a second. I want to be able to press the shutter button halfway down, and within 100th of a second, it's already figuring out its focus, and it finds it straight away. I don't want it to kind of go 1, 2, oh, now find a focus. That annoys me a lot. So that's why I still went for the old lens compared to the new one. So check that out. See if you're buying any of these AFS lenses. See how quickly it actually initiates its focus. Another thing we could be asking for is lenses with less vignetting and also better sharpness in the corners of the lenses. Some of our cameras now are actually, again with the Nikon D700, it does auto anti-vignetting, so it can add brightness to the edges of your photo, which again is great, but come on, work on the lenses, guys. The next one, sports photographers, maybe paparazzi photographers really want a high frames a second. Okay, you can get the D3S and the Canon some D Mark something, which can do about 10 or 11 frames a second, which is awesome. Nobody's complaining about that. Nobody really needs faster than that. That you are going to get your shot within that kind of time frame. However, if you could bring that down to the kind of cheaper, more consumer end price range, that would be a bit more handy. So it just means more people have more chance to actually capture cool shots, or like in my snowboarding shots where I'm doing about 7 frames a second, that's awesome as well. Be able to get that of a snowboarder, of a jumper, of a diver, of, you know, all those kind of high action sports, that'd be good if you could just bring the price down a little bit on that one. Also with that is that you want a buffer in your camera. The buffer is the bit where all the photo information goes into the buffer and then it gets squeezed into the memory card. For example, my Nikon D700, that has a buffer of around about 20 images, or raw images, before it kind of dies, or slows down. So whenever I'm doing the guys jumping in the air from the snowboarding stuff, that's about a 3-second jump that they're in there for. So that's 21 images that I'm doing in RAW, and it's doing it 7 frames a second, which is pretty awesome. However, after the 21, it usually goes instead of going, it goes, and then it gets really slow. Bringing the buffer up, making it bigger, and also just if you can bring that into the cheaper cameras, that would be awesome. Now the biggie. This is what everyone should be asking for. Forget about the megapixels, forget about the frames per second, but it's about dynamic range. And with that, let's talk about the brightness, the shadows, being able to capture the detail that's in one image, from the brights to the shadows, get much more of it. You may have seen my videos we've done the Fuji S5 Pro against my Nikon D700, then it still humps. It's an old camera with old sensor technology, but it's awesome sensor technology, and to be able to capture so much more information. It is amazing, and that's what I want from my cameras, so that if I'm doing landscape, or if I'm doing high contrast situations, or if I'm doing places where the scene may change very quickly and I might not be able to rescue an image from the highlights or from the shadows, having a super high dynamic range is so valuable. And again, a lot of sports, a lot of fashion and beauty people, beauty photographers really want a good color depth as well. So at the moment it's around about the 22 bits of color depth. I have no idea what that means, but the more bits, the more color depth, the more color information that we're getting. That's good. That's what we should be asking for as well. We can all be asking for higher ISOs, but really, we are totally spoiled with the ISOs that we've got. For example, just now, the best one just now has to be the Nikon D3S. Okay, that's a £3,500 camera, so it's not really in the consumer range, but that's doing like 250,000 ISO, which is bonkers. And even with the Canon 550D, with the software of Magic Lantern, I can actually go above ISO 6400 something, and it can make a black and white video or some, I can't remember, it does something, but it can effectively just shove the ISO up even higher. But what we actually want is not so much a higher ISO, but just cleaner ISO all the way up to a higher level. So for it, at the moment, the Nikon D700 has clean ISO up to about 2000 ISO. D3S has up to about 3000 ISO, which is amazing. And obviously what happens is after that, you then start to actually really be able to see the noise. But below that, it just looks clean and amazing. So I don't need 250,000 ISO, but I would quite like being able to go a little bit higher in my ISO and still have a clean image. Other things we've got to think about are image stabilization. I want wide angle lenses with image stabilization. The Nikon does one. It's a 16-35 f4 VR lens. Brilliant. Want more of that. Canon, do you have any wide angle vibration reduction lenses? I don't know. Also, with digital SLRs costing so much, so many people are starting to use them as fashion accessories, which annoys me. But what I do like the idea is being able to make your body of the camera lighter but harder or more sturdy or more bash proof is what I like. So that at the moment we're starting to use certain types of plastic, so everyone's like, it's a plastic body, but plastic is like an amazing material, and we're getting some super strong alloy resin plastic stuff, which means you can pretty much drop your camera and it'll bounce around the place, which is great. And especially, you know, everyone drops their cameras and goes, oh no, in slow motion. But if you can have it now so that you bounce it and just go, whoops, doesn't matter, pick up. You can pretty much do that with the professional cameras, but again, with the lower end, it'd be great if you could bring that technology back down to the kind of more consumer level. Battery performance as well. That's something which isn't really so much a camera industry or lens industry thing. That's more just science in general. We just don't know how to make batteries really that great. So that's something which I'd love to see a camera company say, actually, we've just spent £10 million on making this battery so it can do 3,000 photos before the battery runs out instead of going 700 photos. So that just means you can actually go on a whole holiday for a week and not even bring a charger or worry about your battery running out of any charge. Going back to the lenses and the body, weatherproofing. Now, Nikon's bodies are brilliant in the fact that they are very much weatherproof, not waterproof. So if it's pouring with rain, you're pretty much safe. But their lenses, I'm happy to go out with the Nikon 70 to 200mm lens, my big boy, out in the pouring rain because I know that one's weather sealed. However, the other lenses, I don't know. I just don't have any confidence about them, especially the 24 to 70mm lens, because the bit actually extends out of it. Very nervous taking that out into the rain, which again, you might need to have to do in certain situations. So again, I want my camera companies to give me weatherproofed lenses, or prove to me that they can be weatherproofed and that I shouldn't be so scared about taking it into slightly dangerous environments. But everything else, I think, in the photography world is rocking. We've got great flash connectivity, we've got Wi-Fi cards now, which means you can take a photo and within 10 seconds it's from your camera onto your iPad. Check out F-Stoppers for their little video on showing you how to do that. Got to do jailbreak or some stuff like that with your iPad. Don't know how it works, but it looks amazing. We've got great pixel densities, we've got great ISOs, we've got great screens, we've got so many menus that make it brilliant. We've got super fast shutters, we've got such an array of lenses, we've got such great editing software just now. Photography really is brilliant just now. We've got so many options. There's not really many things that we actually need. All the things I've said here are things which could be good to add. There's nothing, I don't think, at the moment that anyone is really thinking, I need to have a camera which can focus after I've taken a photo, or something else. So what we don't need is more camera genres, effectively. So we've got the bridge, we've got the compact, then we've got the bridge, and then we've got the ones that are kind of SLRs that have detachable lenses but are not quite, and they're more point and shoot. And then below them you've actually still got the kind of Nikon 1 series, which just come out, nobody really knows what they were actually for, especially considering their price. And then you've got your proper SLRs. Do we need anything else in there? I don't think so. I think we've covered everything. And then you've got your full format or your medium format lenses as well. So yeah, you just don't need to worry. There's so many options out there. Do we need more genres of cameras or lenses or anything like that? I don't think we do. We just need to get what we've got and make it better. Just a little, just evolve it a little bit better because it's so good just now as it is. But anyway, tell me what you think we really need to have. And not just that, I would like face detection, smell detection, and fart detection. So whenever I fart and everyone laughs, it takes a photo. Ha! Shut up. We don't need that at all. What we're needing, this is like, if you're on my channel, you're not needing that kind of crap. But if you're thinking of like how you need Wi-Fi connectivity, you need instant internet access, or even like 3G cameras so that you can get your camera and you can get connection to the internet. So especially if you're doing like press photography, you go there, take a photo, it can be uploaded straight to your server straight away, so then you could be sending it off. Or wedding photographers, that'd be great. You go along, start taking photos at the wedding, you can have a computer in the wedding which is streaming the photos from your camera so people can see your photos straight away and they can start putting their orders in there and then. That'd be my kind of idea. Okay, I'm going to put that forward. Wi-Fi / Bluetooth live streaming photos so that anyone can see it while you're there. I think that'd be good. Anyway, tell me what you think. Cheers. Bye bye. Oh, and just before I go, just want to let you know, again, this video is being recorded with the Rode video mic on top of the Canon 550D with Magic Lantern put in, and it was on, the Rode video mic was on plus 20 decibels, the camera was on plus 22 decibels of analog audio gain. I think that was it. And this was recorded at 1080 and 25 frames a second. Whew, there's the info. Oh, and t-shirt, if you like the t-shirt, it says old school. That's from Point and Destroy, the kind of company which do all the t-shirts. Again, link down below. See you later. Bye bye.